So survival, I think, is the biggest problem with it is that life support drops are tied entirely to RNG. That is the biggest, worst issue with it, and I don't think anyone is going to disagree with that. The fact that you can be meeting, you know, the supposed kills per second requirements, and you can still fail and run out of life support in spite of that. Because you can just get screwed by RNG and there's no real failsafe besides life support towers. Now, life support towers are fine in theory, but my problem with them is, A, they are limited. So, like, if you're really not making that DPS cut, then the life support towers aren't going to help you because they have kind of this issue where if you're going around from tower to tower, that is ultimately probably going to lose you more life support than it is ever going to gain you. And again, that's primarily because if you're moving, you're not necessarily killing unless you're doing it on the way there. And if you're not meeting, you know, the kills per second requirement anyway, that's also not going to help you. So I feel like the life support capsules aren't really serving their full purpose. Again, this all applies to Steel Path. Regular Path Survival does not have this problem as far as I know. One, because I think the drop rate of life support is boosted in Regular Path to make up for the much smaller amount of enemies. I actually don't know if the spawn rates are the same, but like whenever I play regular Survival Path, that always feels like there's way less enemies. So I feel like life support drops have to be boosted, because I rarely ever have a problem in regular path. Like, even if I'm just being as slow as possible, I feel like there's never really an issue. But when it comes to Steel Path Survival, I think that the way they have tweaked the math has really pushed something unhealthy. And this is the second part of it, is that survival has, for better or for worse, kind of become a benchmark for, I guess, frames in general. What the fuck is... How do I get over there? I just a fucking moron? It has become kind of a benchmark for frames in general in terms of their overall DPS capability and just general usage. Like, it feels like if a frame or even a weapon cannot pass like a Steel Path, you know, survival benchmark, then it's often considered bad, and I think that that is not healthy. Like, granted, this isn't necessarily, like, a true statement, I would say. I think that this is more perpetuated by the community. So this is not necessarily a survival problem, but I think that survival being the way it is does not help that issue. Get this guy out of here. Where was I? Survival, yes. So... Again, because it is become this, you know, universal benchmark for, you know, every weapon and frame, and this, that, and the other thing, it has kind of created something unhealthy in which how we judge frames and weapons. Because, oh, if this, you know, frame can't automatically get, you know, however, like, what is it, like a little over 100 kills per minute in... you know, Steel Path Survival, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, well, they're not good. You know, they're not a great frame. But I don't think that's true. I think that there's a lot of frames where it's like, oh, they have really cool kits in a vacuum. But the problem is that they take a little bit too long to set up their game plan. And thus it creates the issue of, okay, well, now what do? Because people have written it off as bad. You can't solo survival them, so, like, what do you use them for? Because that's the benchmark that everyone judges them by. Or at least a large majority of people judge them by. It's either that or it's level cap. And both of those kind of go hand in hand regardless. So, level cap is another issue, but that's not really what we're talking about. So, I guess what my proposed issue fix for this is... There's a couple ways you could go about it. Either rework survival entirely, which I'm not sure is likely. B, I would say just increase the drop chance of life support, or have something that you can do within the mission that gives you higher life support drop chances. Again, there's a couple mechanics that they've been introducing recently, like, for example, oh, kill the necromech to decrease the timer on the mission, right? Like they've been doing that a lot lately. And I think that that is a really good mechanic that they should be introducing more of. Like, not even for timed missions, just for endless missions. Like, oh, doing this, like, side objective helps your main objective directly, like, if you choose to do it. Like, it's harder, but it is ultimately going to reward you. And I think that that is a really, really good thing that they should be introducing in, like, base-level content. Not just special missions like TDA and ETA. They should be introducing that in more places entirely. I think that that would be overall more healthy for the game. And I think it would help us kind of steer away from this hyperfixation that the game has had on, like, death is the best CC, and so on and so forth. Because CC, like, that is another topic to talk about, is that CC has almost been entirely eradicated. Not even because of, like, stuff like Overguard. Like, that obviously doesn't help. But the problem with CC is, in almost every objective, CC is not really helping you. Crowd control isn't furthering the objective. It's not doing anything for you. It's just stunning enemies, and that by itself is not accomplishing anything unless you're also getting, like, a debuff that goes with it or something. Because, like, for example, in a defense mission, it's like, oh, stunning enemies would be a good thing, right? In theory. But in practice, what that does is it makes the mission take longer. And that is not a good thing. That is a conflict of interest, though. Where protecting the objective is sidelined in favor of just killing as fast as possible. Again, creating this weird, how would you put it? I guess homogeny of game modes, where the goal is to just kill as fast as possible regardless of what you're doing, and you'll probably be fine. But again, like I said, just going back to defense as an example, oh, like, CC doesn't help you because it slows enemies, it slows the objective, and that's not what you want. You want to be killing as fast as possible. Death is the best CC. There's so many more factors than, like, people always talk about Overguard and go to Overguard as the main, I guess, proprietor of this mentality that's arisen in the past couple of years. But it has been a multitude of factors that I don't think people have acknowledged. Like I said, it is the survival issue being a benchmark, it is Overguard as well, but it is also the homogeny of game modes and how they all interact with each other. Like, the devs have not designed game modes in any meaningful way. I think that this game needs a place for supports. I think that they should design game modes where creating a squad that is cohesivized and is, like, pre-built. Like, pre-built squads are something that don't really exist in Warframe, and for better or for worse, they probably shouldn't. But I do think that there is a benefit to them existing. Like, I think it would be cool if it's, like, there was a lot of, I don't know, how would you say? There would be a lot more benefit, like, it would dramatically, you know, increase effectiveness to build a squad for this particular thing. Where you could do it just fine as, like, a random pub, right? But, like, if you were to take, like, your friends and, you know, you were to build a squad and do something and go into there, I think that that would not only be more fun and interesting, but also promote, like, teamwork and coordination and just, like, general social, you know, interactions within the game. Because I think that that is what the game is missing, is it's, like, yes, you're playing with other people a lot of the time, but, like, you're not really interacting or interfacing. Because everyone nowadays, like, every frame is so self-sufficient that relying on the idea that you might have a support is just, like, not a concept anymore. Like, there's no frames that have, like, I guess, strengths and weaknesses, really, anymore? Or at least not in a way that, like, you would need to compensate for by having a squad. Like, some frames are going to be better at certain, you know, things than others. But generally speaking, like, most frames out there are very self-sufficient. We have the mods for it, like, you know, energy economy is not really a thing anymore. Gone are the days of, like, energy vampire Trinity. Like, that, again, that's why Trinity isn't really fucking relevant anymore. Because energy vampires are needed. Everyone has Energize and Energy Nexus and, Nourish and, like, this, that, and the other thing, like, Equilibrium and shit. Like, everyone is self-sufficient now in energy. You don't need that support. Harrow doesn't do anything for the same reason. Like, yes, these frames might have their own niches, like, outside of that, but half of their supporting kit is just useless now. It has no place in the game. Like, supports in CC are, like, slowly just falling out of existence, and I don't know what can necessarily be done other than, like, changing how game modes are played to remedy this kind of freefall that we've put ourselves in. Get over here. Shit. What is this thing? Tech brought miasmite? I don't know if I've ever seen that thing before. I wonder if that's a, Minerva thing. But back to the point on survival, like I said, it is one of the factors of this kind of ongoing issue. Like, if survival was fixed, I think that we would see a lot more, like, difference in how we judge frames. Because, like, again, even if you aren't a YouTuber, though, perpetuating this, like, I think that it is not unreasonable for a lot of people to kind of judge it by the same benchmark. Because if I can't do this thing solo... Oh, right, that's another thing that I should mention. It's not just survival, it's defense as well. Defense has been such a bad proponent of this kind of death of support in CC. Because not only does it CC slow enemies down, support abilities don't do anything to the objective anymore. They all are just a flat 500 health over, like, what? Like, I think it's 10 seconds, maybe? And that's it. That's all they do. They are all stuck at that same level. You can't, you know, shield the objective very well. Like, you just have to kill. Like, you have to hope you kill things. Because if you didn't have to do that, if you could affect the objective more effectively, like with Trinity or something, or if Frost's Bubble was a lot stronger, for instance, I think that supports would be seen a lot more for that reason. Because then it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about how long I'm taking necessarily, because the objective isn't going to fail on me. I think that's kind of all I have to say about that, but I don't necessarily expect things to change anytime soon. But we will see.